What's up, guys? Welcome back to a new video here, and we've been talking about the possibility of Israel striking inside Iran in the immediate future for the last couple of days now. And there's a number of tea leaves there, which we've discussed on recent videos. And I think this is a huge deal. The former defense minister of Israel, guys, Yoav Gallant, who was fired by Benjamin Netanyahu for a number of political reasons, he's basically predicting that Israel is going to strike at Iran very soon. And the reason why I think this is super important, guys, is for a number of reasons. Number one, he was the defense minister in charge for pretty much all of Israel's actions in the Gaza Strip, as well as in Lebanon, for example. And he was only fired relatively recently. So he's been in charge and in the know on Israeli operations for quite a while now. And the fact, again, the reason why he's saying this publicly is because he was fired a month or two ago by Netanyahu for domestic political reasons. And the thing that's also interesting, guys, is it was kind of viewed inside Israel that Gallant was more of a pacifist, which is, again, crazy to say. For people who don't know, Gallant was actually charged alongside Netanyahu at the ICC. So, again, there's obviously a lot of controversy around Gallant himself. But inside Israel, he's actually viewed as the more dovish option to Netanyahu, which makes it even more interesting, the fact that Gallant says actually Israel is going to strike Iran soon. He predicts this. And we've been talking about the reasons why, whether or not we're talking about the Mossad chief, for example, saying, "Oh, we should strike Iran directly instead of the Houthis." Now, this is exactly what Gallant says here, guys. Former Defense Minister Gallant, and again, this is from the Times of Israel, says Israel and the U.S. should work together against Yemen's Houthis, adding it will pave the way for joint action against Iran, which he predicts will take place soon. He predicts it will take place soon. So again, soon, what does that mean? Before the Trump administration? Again, because we've been talking about the Houthi attacks on Israel. They've only ramped up in recent weeks, specifically in the last few days, at a higher rate. I think we're going to see very soon attacks on the Houthis. And basically, what Gallant is saying here is that the attacks on Houthi forces, and again, it's interesting that he claims the U.S. should work with Israel on this. He claims after the Houthis are struck, it will be a pretext of going after Iran. So he's saying that there should be strikes on the Houthi rebels in Yemen and go after Iran following that. Very interesting. And again, he said we need to do more against the Houthis, their leaders, and their missile array, says Gallant, a Likud MK who has made few public speeches since being replaced. Again, that's the other key thing, guys. He doesn't make many public statements. So the fact that he's calling for these and predicting these strikes is super important, I think, because this is not some random analyst. This guy is in the know. He's been inside Israeli operations for years now. So his opinion on the matter, it should give a good indication where Israel is thinking here. And this is specifically what he says: within the American effort in joint Israeli-U.S. operations against the Houthis, we can have an impact on the battlefield, and it will act as preparation for what can be done against Iran. And it can be done within a short time frame. Again, the key part of the story is the time frame, because we've been talking about, I've been saying it's a matter of time before Israel goes after Iran. And hey, I think it's pretty clear it's going to happen very soon if we're listening to anything Gallant is saying here. Israel has carried out 3 rounds of strikes against the Houthis and is vowed to continue pounding them. The attacks have done a little to stem the attacks. It's true, guys. The Yemenis, the Houthis, continue to send rockets into Israel here, and this has actually led to a number of Houthi rebel leaders to take shelter, for example. Again, this is according to Channel 12 in Israel. Houthi leaders are hiding underground for fear of Israeli targeting. I mean, yeah, you probably think so, because they definitely are going to be targeted by Israel if you look at anything that's happened with the leaders in Hezbollah, of even Hamas, Sinwar, Haniya, Nasrallah, all of them targeted by Israel. So clearly the Houthi leaders are going to be taking shelter. There's no question about that. I have no doubt that they are underground. At least if you would assume they are underground, guys. And by the way, guys, if you've been enjoying the content, make sure to like and subscribe. It's super good for the channel. We've been making a lot of progress on that front, so I really hope you guys continue to like the comment. And listen, at some point soon, we're going to probably qualify for the YouTube Partner Program. So keep liking, keep subscribing, comment too. I mean, it's super important to hear you guys' feedback. So let me know what you guys think in the comments as well. And again, guys, we've been talking about how Israel might be striking Iran. It's also important to note that if I know this and you guys know this, so does Iran. So Iran is also, because there's been a lot of calls for Iran to strike Israel as well. And I thought this is pretty interesting. This is from the Mir News Agency, which is a more Iranian backed media outlet, and this is super interesting, I think, guys. A senior Iranian commander has announced that the country's armed forces will conduct joint military day drills in the coming days, adding that the Israeli regime's skies are defenseless against Iran's attacks. Again, I'm not sure exactly if that's true or not. I haven't seen any other sourcing backing that up. But again, who knows? Why would he say that? Saying we're going to be conducting military drills inside our country and then say, oh, the Israeli regime's skies are defenseless. Is he setting the pretext for some kind of attack here? Because again, we've also been talking about the possibility of maybe Iranian strikes inside Israel as sort of a what's the term, like a pretext or a strike inside Israel in order to prevent an Israeli attack. Which, by the way, I'm not sure that would work, guys. But again, we continue to go up the escalation ladder as we have in the last few months, and all it takes is one round of attacks that are miscalculated by either side, and this could develop into an all-out war, which is exactly what the region has been trying to avoid. But guys, I think it's pretty clear Israel is going to try to go for the Iranians very soon, and knowing that, the Iranians might strike first, which would be even more disastrous for the region. Again, it's very, very concerning, the developments we've seen over the last few months here. And again, we talked the other day about the Mossad chief, for example, guys, how he basically said, no, Israel should be striking directly at Iran and don't even worry about the Houthis for now. He said, go for the head of the snake in Iran, decapitate the Ayatollahs, because if you do that, guys, the proxy group of the Houthis would be severely weakened. They wouldn't even bother going after Israel if the Iranian regime is overthrown. And there was another report saying Netanyahu disagreed, but then again, there was an Israeli journalist who said, usually Netanyahu takes the advice of the Mossad chief. So again, we're seeing on these. This is again the key point, guys. This is all coming from Israeli media. This is what is being distributed to the public. So they're clearly, once again, setting the pretext for an Iranian operation. There's no question about it, especially with a lot of the proxy groups weakened in the region. I think it's possible they're waiting for an incoming Trump administration who would probably be more, or not probably, definitely be more open to strikes on Iran. I mean, guys, we've talked in the past about how Trump himself, which is wild to think about, is actually open to American strikes on Iran, which, I mean, guys, if anyone, I just can't imagine that's good. I can't imagine that being a good thing. You have American bases in the region, and the idea that Iran wouldn't strike back on American-backed interests in the region, whether it be on Saudi Arabia or American bases, is absolutely ridiculous. But again, who knows? And many people in America don't seem to be aware of this, or they don't really care. Which again is wild, considering it was portrayed as if he was an anti-war president. So it makes the entire thing more wild. But again, Yoav Gallant, the former defense minister, in the know on a lot of this stuff, because he was in charge of Israeli operations for a while, basically saying, and this is the headline in the Times of Israel, Israel and the U.S. should act together against Houthis as practice for hitting Iran. Again, I think it's pretty wild to say this openly, and the Iranians see this, guys. The Iranians see this, and I cannot imagine they're not going to take steps in order to prevent this, or maybe they're going to strike first, because at this point I think it's pretty clear that Trump, for example, guys, has kind of changed his position. It seemed as though he was open to a deal with Iran, but in recent weeks and negotiations with a lot of Netanyahu people, Sarah Netanyahu, the wife of Benjamin Netanyahu, was actually at Mar-a-Lago, Trump's compound in Florida, and it seems as though they are more open to strikes on Iran as opposed to a deal. So again, it's very concerning to say the least what's going to happen here the next few months. On the Middle East front, but I'll keep you guys updated. Again, make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate all the support, and we got big things coming the next few weeks in terms of special guests and major new additions to the channel. So again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys soon. Thanks.